Okay, whoo, that worked. I had a moment of panic after that happened that I was like, oh my gosh, what if it doesn't let me restart a webinar that I've ended and what's going to happen? So thank goodness that worked because that was a risky move. All right, we're gonna try this again. Okay, I've got the live up going. Now they've got a new thing that lets you know when it's going live, but I assure you nothing, they can only see the video. So if that's they can't see everybody else. And now I'm in here twice. That must be Sarah. Okay. Yes, exactly. One of the common pitfalls of being an author is technology. I don't even have that one included in my presentation. Okay, so thank you so much for your flexibility and for popping back in here. This is amazing. This is the best community. I will try and just quickly recap for anybody who's joined us. My name is Alexa Bigwharf. This presentation is brought to you by Write, Publish, Sell and the Women in Publishing Summit. Write, Publish, Sell is my author support services business, and the Women in Publishing Summit is our annual conference. But it's more than an annual conference. We do these monthly training opportunities and webinars and all kinds of fun things within our community. On that note, the price starts to increase starting tomorrow. So if you have not had a chance to grab your early bird ticket while it's $100 off, please, before the end of today, go to womeninpublishingsummit.com and grab your ticket. It's such a beneficial week of presentations and amazingness. And I would really hate for you to miss it when it's at the lowest price that it can be. So that's my disclaimer on that. And now I'm going to get in, and I did check right as everybody was coming in, and I could indeed see that the share screen options were there. So let me hide these subtitles. And here we go, because I have so much to tell you about. All right. What I want to share is this. I'm about to go into full present mode. So while I can still see the chat, can everyone let me know if you can see my screen? Okay, great. All right. So, all right, awesome. We are here and we are seeing the screen. So I'm going to move that. I'm going to go full screen into present mode, and off we go. All right. So, I guess I didn't change the topic of this one, but I've changed the webinar from common mistakes to common pitfalls, because, yes, they are mistakes, but pitfalls, I feel like, has less of a negative connotation. Mistakes, I feel like it's judgment. And, it's just when we're writing and publishing and selling books, there's so much stuff to learn and know. And of course, we're going to make mistakes. So what I want to do is I want to show you the common things that people don't know to know as they're going through the process, and of course, how to avoid them. Okay, who I am. My name is Alexa Bigwharf. As I told you at the beginning, I am a USA Today and Wall Street Journal bestselling author, and I am proud of that fact, but I also must disclose that I did not do that on my own. It took a team of people and a lot of people collaborating together to make that happen, because it's very difficult to make those things happen. But it is something that once you get, you can tell everybody about. So that's now part of my credibility. I'm also an author coach, a publisher, a book marketing strategist, host of the Women in Publishing Summit. My number of books is going up and going up. I just finished my second book in my first fiction series. Well, finished. I just completed 50,000 words of garbage in NaNoWriMo, but hey, the story is written, and now it's time for me to go back and make it better, right? I have assisted thousands of authors between the conference, between our services, our programs, and between the podcast, all the things, one-on-one clients. And this is something that, if you don't know me, if you're new to me, I need you to know that it's something that I love doing, because I'm very, very passionate about writing books and being an author myself, and helping other people through maneuvering all of the things that there are to know and learn about this. We're about to do our 8th annual conference, the Women in Publishing Summit. It is my favorite thing to do, quite honestly, because of not just the great content that comes out, but the great connections that are made, the great relationships that are made. And many of you that are here today are part of that audience. And you have made my last several years just so much greater because of the type of people in our community. And book launching is a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. And I'm very passionate about teaching what we learn and helping you not make the same mistakes that I have made as an author, but also in my business as I was learning with clients, things that we've seen. And then I get the joy and pleasure of helping people who have made a lot of mistakes and need someone to help them on a regular basis. So we get to see it all. Okay. A lot of info. I talk really fast. I am going to provide you the slides and the recording of this. So don't worry if I'm talking too fast, but if you have a question, put it in the Q&A box and I will be happy to answer as many as I can before we end up at the end. I am going to tell you about one of our programs. It's not a pitchy pitch. I just want to show you how that we work with people and how we can help you if these are some of your issues. It's a very, but we do have a special offer today because whenever we are doing things like this, we do try to get people the best deal possible. Okay, I shared this slide last time I did this presentation, and this continues to be the case. It's just growing and growing and growing. There are just lots and lots and lots and lots of books coming onto the marketplace every single day, not just self-published books, but traditionally published books, but the self-published books are coming way up, but books are also selling, which is good. And this just to give you Bowker, if you're not familiar, which you should be familiar with Bowker, because that's one of the common missteps is that people don't get their own ISBNs, which we'll talk about in a minute. This is the organization that manages the ISBNs, that manages the database of metadata that's out there about all these great books, all the catalog of information. Just the number of titles and ISBNs are just growing exponentially. Okay, but the other side of that is that just because you're writing and publishing a book, just because books are out there does not mean that they are necessarily selling. Now, I apologize. This is an old article, but I have seen other things that have come out. I just couldn't find anything as credible as the Wall Street Journal. I've seen plenty of other things that basically indicate that this is still pretty much the trend. And I can tell you from working with a lot of authors that this is the trend that we see as well, that many self-published authors do not sell. These are print books, do not sell thousands of books. They're selling in the 200 to 500, if that many books. It's hard work to sell books. And those of you who are in here who have cracked the code and are selling lots and lots of books, kudos to you. You've done the work. What I can tell you is that consistency makes a big difference, and having a book that people need and want is a big part of it. And it's a good book and has all the things that we're going to talk about. It will help you. And I'm going to talk about my book as an example in a few minutes. But you know, in 2007, the founder of Lulu said that most print runs were 2 or less books. We don't want that to be our situation. This is, you know, we want to be the outliers to this. We want to be the ones that are selling more books than this. And of course, this is by tracked books and not ebooks. I couldn't find any ebook data. I didn't look that hard for it. I'll be honest with you. I'm more interested in the print books for many reasons. But anyway, so it's a highly competitive, highly saturated market. Even traditionally published authors don't always sell out their print runs, which if you are here and you're traditionally published, you know that your publisher does a print run of however many books, 1,000, 10,000, and you get your advance, and then you have to sell out those books before you start earning royalties on the future print runs. There's a lot of traditionally published authors who will never get a second print run. So what we want to do is we want to create an environment. We want to teach you some of the things that you can do to make sure that what you are doing is making you really stand above the millions of other books in your genre and helping you find the way to sell the books, because you can't afford to make mistakes if you're trying to be a successful author. And I don't believe that you would be here today if you didn't want to be a successful author. My goal today is to prevent you from making common mistakes by giving you some education about those things. I cannot possibly teach you everything there is to know about all of these things in 1 hour, but I can at least make you aware of these things so that you can take the next steps for making sure that you find the information to do these things the right. But I will give you some tips on how to do those as well. And then my goal just personally is to just build a whole community of very professional authors so that we are all doing well and selling our books and realizing our dreams of being professionals in the publishing industry. So consistency, time, energy, and even investment. These are the things that it's going to take you. And the learning curve is high and burnout is real. I can tell you because I am in that moment myself. The most thing you have to understand is that when you are self-publishing in particular, even if you're not self-publishing, even when you're working with a hybrid publisher or even going through a more traditional route, like you are now a business owner, your business is writing and selling books. And so you have to think like a business owner. You have to think like a professional. If you are indie publishing, if you're self-publishing your book, you've got to make sure that it is high quality, that it's competitive with the books out there. And that means it's got to be edited. It's got to have a good cover. It's got to have formatting. It's got to be in line with the industry standards. There are industry standards. The Independent Book Publishers Association, IBPA, has a beautiful list of industry standards that will tell you exactly what your book should look like on the cover, on the copyright page, on how that formatted, how it should be formatted, all these things. And it's there for you for free to download off of their site. You just have to know how to get it, which is just go to IBPA and look for the industry standards checklist and to actually pay attention to it. And then if you don't know how to do the things inside of that, to hire other people who can help you do that. Another things is that you have to consider yourself like any other business that is marketing anything. Pay attention to the businesses in your community and what level of marketing they do. Good grief. We just went through Black Friday. Anybody on our emailing list? Like I tried to keep our emailing to a minimum, but I know I still emailed more than some people like. But I can tell you as a recipient, I got over 250 emails yesterday alone in my personal inbox from all like people market. They send out emails, they run sales, they do discounts, they invest in advertising things. Like you have to be thinking of these things too if you're trying to sell something. You have to understand the market. This is huge. And I saw Pam Shepard's on here. She and I have had so many conversations about comp titles and understanding what other books are performing and how you line your book up with others. And there's a whole knowledge base behind comp titles and understanding what else is selling in your market that is just mind blowing. There's a lot to understand so that you can position your book properly. You have to understand the norms and expectations of your genre as part of that. There are drastically different expectations between people who want a women's fiction book, for example, as opposed to a steamy romance, or a clean book as opposed to a whatever, or a nonfiction self-help book as opposed to a memoir. There are very different expectations, and you have to know and understand that as you're writing your book. Metadata will take you down faster than anything else. That's not having the right pricing, categories, keywords, title, setup, all of those types of things. Creating pricing that's outside of the norms that will kill you right away. Nobody's going to buy a paperback fiction book for $27, even from a famous person. Like it just doesn't happen. You have to understand where your pricing should be on a paperback book and where it fits in there. Trying to recoup your costs by charging people a lot of money for your book is going to backfire on you. Like they're not going to buy it unless they just really, really love you. Not standing out from the other books. There's lots and lots and lots and lots of knots. So I want to make sure that we are not on the knot list. Okay, so who's with me? Let's get through these and go on. I want you to know, and I say this every time I give this presentation, that this is not a shame game. If you've made some of these mistakes, I actually was able to pull up the chat. So I see Dacia said she's already hit this pitfall. It's no shame, because this is a learning curve. Nobody became the CEO of the biggest company in America their first day on the job. Like, they worked towards it. They learned, they got an education, they put in the work and the effort. And, and this is same with us. Like, just like with your writing craft, you don't start the best writer in the world. It takes lots of practice and going through all, working on your craft to get there. So no shame if you have made these mistakes. The point of today is to show you that you may have made this mistake if you don't even know you're making some of these mistakes, to help you not make these mistakes on future things, and to keep you from making some of these mistakes in the future. Uh-oh, what happened to my, okay. Go back a slide. Oh no, it won't let me go back a slide. Y'all, there we go. Okay. Whew. So speaking of no shame, I want to show you my very first book. And some of you have seen this presentation before, so just bear with me here. I hired a quote unquote cover designer. I didn't know what needed to go on a book. I didn't know diddly squat about font placement or anything, as you can see from this book. So sometimes you can hire quote unquote professionals and still not get a professional product. Everything about this original book was wrong. Although I want to tell you, when I first saw the book and the book cover, I was in love with it. I thought it did everything I wanted it to. I loved the picture of the woman in the field. It felt to me like it embodied what I was trying to feel. I thought it was wonderful, but it wasn't wonderful. And it took a little while for me to understand all the mistakes that were going on here as I started looking into it. The spine is a big one. Your cover image should not wrap over into your spine, and lots of other things. It's missing a lot of things, right? It's not awesome. So then I started a relationship with my cover designer, who has now been working with me for 8 years, and many, many, many of my clients. Michelle Fairbanks is one of the best in the industry, and she redesigned my cover. Totally different book. And now I see this book and I compare them side by side, and I think, oh my gosh, what a difference. Just knowing how a book should be formatted and how you make things and where you put things and font choices and all of those things make such a big difference. And so this is part of the learning process, right? And I'm very, very proud of this book now. Okay, so the first mistake, and some of you may be well beyond this point, but the first mistake is just lack of knowledge about all the puzzle pieces that have to come together to make these things happen, right? So oopses, oh my goodness. Seriously, if I had $1 for every time one of the women in our community or one of our clients says, I wish I'd known that before, I would be a very, very rich woman. I've said it many, many times. So lots of oopses get made because we just don't know. We don't know that we need to have an ISBN that's officially assigned through the ISBN distributor. We don't know that the metadata needs to be set up properly. We don't know how to set up the fields in the ISBN system properly. We don't know how to load our books to Ingram Spark and what all the different fields mean and how to do those things. We don't know what's a book. We know as readers when we look at a book if a book looks formatted right, but you probably don't understand all the intricacies that go into formatting. It's a nightmare if you're not an expert at it, knowing the spacing and the different font sizes and when you put, just so many things to know about it. Not having a professional cover. I loved my first cover, but it wasn't a professional cover. The next cover, as you may saw, looked a lot better. Not getting a book edited well or fully developed. This is probably one of the hands down the biggest mistakes that I see. And this is a mistake that I have made in the past. And it's incredibly, incredibly horrifying and embarrassing when somebody sends you an email and says, hey, got your book, found about 6 typos between page 1 and 50. And it's mortifying. So, you don't want to get that type of email. And sometimes even running it, we've run through 4 rounds of edits before and still found mistakes later on. So that's something that happens, but you can reduce as much as possible. And then just not understanding the standards and the timelines and all the things that need to have. And the biggest, a big, I keep saying the biggest one because they're also huge, but another big one is not having a marketing strategy. And we'll get more to that a little bit along the way. So each one of these mistakes that I'm giving you, or I should have renamed them to pitfalls, I'll make a note to do that. But the solution to this pitfall is to make sure that you know what's happening in as a professional. So if you've taken on if you've decided I am self-publishing my book, then you need to know as much as you can about self-publishing, or you need to hire people to help you through the process, or join communities, or do training, or hire a coach, or do something so that you have some of these things mapped out for you. Now, one of the benefits, the biggest benefits to hiring somebody to work with one-on-one, especially a book coach or an author coach, is that they know all of these things and you won't make these mistakes because they're going to make sure that you make these mistakes, or at least that's the assumption going into it. So, speaking of, if you don't know how to load your book to Ingram Spark or know how to do all of those things, getting your ISBNs, all of those, we do have a Self-Publishing 101 workshop on December 14th. But there are tons of podcasts out there with lots of great information. We have our publisher podcast out there, lots of free blog posts, lots of places where you can ask people for support. I would tell you to be wary of taking expert advice from people in self-publishing groups, though, unless they have published lots of books and are really successful at what they're doing. Because I can't tell you how much misinformation I see posted in the Write Publish Sell group. Just as an example, I've seen a lot of people provide comments back that were just that I've had to go in and correct, because, again, you only know what you know, and some people only know a very small piece of it. But ask questions and get your information from trusted sources. Okay, pitfall number 2, neither you nor your book are ready. And what I mean here is that you didn't take enough time to polish. You didn't take enough time to do the things that you needed to do to have that book ready. It didn't go through a final proofread. I cannot tell you how important it is to order a print proof. It doesn't matter how many times your book has been ordered. We always find mistakes in print proofs that just get looked over in a PDF. Have you had your manuscript critiqued or looked through? Has anyone vetted it? And then, changing gears a little bit into the marketing side, did you give yourself enough time to build up people to support you in this launch? Do you know the marketing world well enough? Do you know other books in your genre, in your other comp titles? How are they performing? Are they selling? How is your book different? How are you getting in front of the same type of people that would enjoy that book? It takes time. You have to have a strategy of how are you doing these things and do them little by little, get it all worked out there. And then some people just give up too soon. It's really easy to just say, I launched my book, I only sold 50 copies, I'm done. I've seen an author do that before and I couldn't believe it. I was like, launching your book is just the beginning. I mean, yes, you need to do a lot of stuff to get ready for that launch. And the more you do before the launch, the better it's going to set you up for success. And again, I'm largely talking to first-time authors who are doing all the work to build their platform and do all the things before their book launch. But launching a book, like that's just the beginning of what should be a long-term marketing plan. So don't give up. Continue to take consistent actions. And if your book still isn't selling, then maybe you need to go back and look at some of the things that we talked about before. Could it use another look at does it need to be revised a little bit? Does it need, oh gosh, guys. My mouse has gone nuts on me. Slow down, do your book correctly, take the time, work through the craft of writing. And I want to be very clear here, because I often will get people respond to this one, give yourself a year, or at least 6 months for marketing and growing your audience. I want to be very clear that this timeline is for first-time authors and for people who are going for really big launches. So for anyone who is a serial publisher, like if you're going to be publishing multiple books per year, that is in itself part of a marketing strategy, because every time you publish another book in a series, it helps build your existing marketing campaign. So there are going to be different timelines for different genres. And this is where your strategy comes in, saying, you know, how likely am I going to be to publish another book in the next 6 months, 4 months, however long, and build kind of your launch plan into that thing. So there is some, but generally for people who are launching their very first book, or who don't plan on launching another book, or who are going to be years between books, you should give yourself as much time as possible for marketing and growth and editorial reviews and all those things. Start as early as you can. And build an email list that you actually use. It does you no good to build an email list if you never actually use. So that's another thing that you have to add into your expertise bucket, is how to market through emails. You can take courses on all of these things. You can attend conferences and writer events and all of those types of things. And I want to hop back to Sunshine After the Storm for a second there, because I broke all the rules on that one. And I want to talk about why there are different situations for different cases. So in my case, I had lost an infant daughter, and another friend of mine, when her twin sister was about 18 months old, a good friend of mine delivered a baby stillborn at 37 weeks. And that kind of pushed me into action. I'd been wanting to do something for grieving mothers. I'd been blogging and things like that. And I decided I really wanted to write a book to help other mothers. And that happened in May. And I knew that October 15th was Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. So I pulled together all the people and that I wanted to contribute to this book. And I said, we have to have all of this ready by but for us to be able to launch the book on October 15th. And so we did it. I got the stuff together. We had it sent through an editor. We got the cover designed. I taught myself how to do the layout. Big mistake there. I'm glad I did it, because I learned so many important things, but big mistake. There's still things in the layout that need to be fixed. But anyway, we did all the things, got it ready, and literally loaded that book onto. You can't do this anymore because it usually takes them about 2 days to get a book live. But I literally loaded the book on October 15th, 2013, and boom, pushed publish. So broke a lot of rules, did no lead-in marketing. But the point of that book wasn't to sell it. The point of that book was to get it out there, because then I purchased a bunch of copies and started giving it to other mothers who needed it. And that's still part of my platform. My personal platform is buying copies and donating it to hospitals and sending it to mothers who need it without selling it. So there are other cases when you may not want to have a big marketing thing. But the reason that I want to talk about consistency is because I did some things along the way. I blogged about my topic and mentioned the book in my blog posts, and drove a lot of traffic to my blog talking about pregnancy and infant loss and grieving parents and all of these types of things. And that's pretty much the only marketing that I did. The book has been out for 8 years and it has sold thousands of copies with very little marketing, because it's a book that's needed. It's a book that I give away. I give away hundreds of copies of print copies of that book for free every year to people who need it. It's out there in the community. People know about it. But this is a plan that I didn't even know that I was planning. I kind of did. I had this idea of what I wanted to do with it. I just didn't know how it would play out over 8 years. But over time, things go. It's still our number one selling book of Cat Biggie Press. It's still the best selling book every single month of it, because of the work that was done and the consistency and the time and the post launch and the connections made and all of those types of things. And I know that was a really long segue to go off on, but it's important to know those things that you can continue to build after launch. Okay, so don't rush the process. You need, I thought this was an interesting stat. I found in an article put out by Written Word Media, who does free Booksy and bargain Booksy. Holy smokes, this mouse, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to give people, every time I touch it, it just goes nuts. The brand new mouse. So, but Written Word Media examined 100,000 authors a couple years ago, and they found 100K authors who are making $100,000. Okay. They've all been writing more than 3 years. and they've just been at it longer. They've just been doing it more. They've been building their audiences, and they've been continuing on. So don't give up too soon. Okay. Oh, Carmen, I'm very sorry. Okay, so I wanted to give a case study because if I'm going to tell you about these long timelines, I want to show you case and purpose and point. So 21 Olive Trees, a mother's walk through the grief of suicide to hope and healing. I wish I'd put some pictures of the inside of this book in here. Do I have one of my copies near me? No, they're all in the other room. Shoot. It is a gorgeous book. It is fables, beautifully written fables that are paired with, I mean, some of the most beautiful illustrations I've ever seen in my life. Just absolutely beautiful book. That to the side, but it's a gorgeous book about the healing process after significant trauma and loss. And it's not your typical grief and loss book. It is, it's fables that tell these beautiful little stories and leave you with just these very heartwarming feelings afterwards. So beautiful book. And we feel like this book needs to be reading for high schoolers, especially who have lost a friend or family member to suicide. It's a great resource and a great gift to someone who is trying to heal, for someone who's trying to move beyond. So the author wanted to go big. She wants all the lists, all the things. So we knew we were going to have to pull out all the stops. We've submitted it for major paid and free editorial reviews: Kirkus, Book Life, Indie Reader, Washington Post, New York Times, San Francisco Chronicle, New York Book Reviewer, School Library Journal, Library Journal. I mean, any place that we can send it, we're sending it. We reached out very early on in the process for endorsements and advance praise. Laura even tracked down the publicist for Deepak Chopra, told him about what she was doing, and managed to land an endorsement from Deepak, which is right there on the front of her book. And when you want to talk about why endorsements are important as a first-time author, as we're asking the New York Times to review the book and they see that Deepak Chopra endorsed it, like that's a big, huge foot in the door, rather than saying, hey, here's this book from somebody you've never heard about before that and trying to get them to give it a chance. So, I mean, we've really, really gone through, it's on NetGalley, Edelweiss, BookFunnel, social media, paid promotions. We're doing Goodreads giveaway, which is happening right now. So if you think this is a book that you would enjoy, there's a Goodreads giveaway right now. You can pop on over to Goodreads. Pre-order campaigns, paid listings, and retail mailers that just went out to over 3,000 book sellers, an advanced reader team. And we started production on this book in March. It is publishing in January, so almost a full year. And let me tell you, this has taken a lot of my personal time, but also a lot of time from everyone on our team. And the reason that I don't tell you that to scare you to say, well, I can't do any of this on my own. You absolutely can, but you have to give yourself the time and the space and the bandwidth and know the timelines of when to do it. And also, I'm working on a bunch of projects. If this was my only project, it might not feel, as long as I had a plan and knew what to do and when, to do it. Speaking of which, if you are interested in being an advanced reader as well, we are still looking for advanced readers. And when you get these slides, you can click on that link and get a copy of it. But this is where our this is all Laura, because she wrote an amazing book, but it got a Kirkus starred review. And you guys, cannot tell you, this was probably the most exciting day of my life as a publisher, because Kirkus starred reviews are very few and far between. And when you get a starred review, you're automatically entered into their annual contest. And I mean, the winner of that earns $50,000 plus a whole bunch of publicity. So, we don't know what's going to happen in January, but we know that we've done everything we could possibly do to make sure this was the best book possible, the best cover, the best interior layout, the best formatting. I had to have this formatted by 3 different formatters because it was so challenging to get everything just right. And, sometimes that's the case, but this is what happens when you do the things to make sure that your book is the best one out there on the marketplace. And that's our goal. Okay. So the next thing, where are we on time, y'all? 137. Okay. I got three more of these pitfalls to go through. Not soliciting enough feedback early enough. So two types of feedback. First, I talked about this a little bit earlier, and like making sure that you're getting enough reviews on feedback on your book as you're writing it. So that's a big thing. Like, you don't want to get to the point where you put your book on NetGalley and you're getting a whole host of negative feedback on NetGalley. That's not when you want it. You want it to have gone through beta readers and maybe a critique, a paid critique or whatever, definitely developmental editing if necessary, copy editing, all those things. But there's just things that sometimes your book is just not ready to go. And then, I don't know why bad fonts wound up right in the middle of that whole thing, but apparently I was on a font kick when I wrote this, but bad fonts are a part of putting the book together that can be a problem. Offensive content. We're working with an author who is putting out a really good book, a really good, interesting storyline about some stuff that happened in the Deep South in the 1930s. So y'all can just imagine what was happening during that time frame, that there's some potentials for some things to happen. So we hired a historian who's also an African-American, a woman of color historian, female, so that she could go through and read it and make sure that we weren't doing harm with the message that he's trying to do good with. And so, getting sensitivity readers, someone to go through and make sure that your book is having the impact that you want it to have, and that it's not going to cause a bunch of other silliness going on around it. And then editorial reviews. So editorial reviews are things like the Kirkus Review, the Washington Post, New York Times, San Francisco Chronicle, Book Life, Publishers Weekly, all of those types of things, the media, professional reviews on those things. They take time. You can pay to have some of them sped up, but they take generally 10 to 12 weeks, you should expect to get those back. And you don't know how long it's going to take somebody who's on the free ones. Like when you send it to some of the ones like Midwest or Scholastic, School Library Journal, some of those, they want 4 months before the book launches to have their opportunity to get the book and to look at the book. So you want to give them enough time to be able to do that, and enough time to be able to actually use those reviews in your marketing. So we luckily had the Deepak Chopra endorsement before we even started the book. So we were able to use that from very, very, very early on. So that's other things to think about in your timeline. Like, what are you going to use to market it? And when do you make sure that you have those done? When do you need to start seeking feedback, endorsements, and editorial reviews? All of those. Okay. So get lots of feedback throughout your whole process. Take it to critique groups. Show up in your communities. In our membership, we offer people the opportunity to get together and talk about their writing. We do networking sessions. We pull people together and get them into groups so that they can get together and help each other or write together, do all of those types of things. You can also, I'm actually hiring a story editor. I'm hoping to have my first book of my new romance series published in June. And I've got a story editor lined up, someone who knows the genre really, really well. Since I've never written a romance before, I want to hire somebody who can just make sure that my story's in line with the genre expectations, so I don't get chewed up and spit out by the people who are reading the book. We talked about sensitivity readers. And get your book in front of the target audience. A sad thing happened. We had a review on a book for middle grade books, and the reviewer clearly had no idea what it was like to read from the perspective of a child, because her feedback was just, it was like, you clearly don't understand who this book is for. So obviously you want adults and the paid readers the reviewers, editorial reviewers, to be able to give you feedback as well. But if you're writing a kid's book, get the kids to read it and tell you about the book. They know so much. They know so much. They can give you such great feedback about what's happening. And they'll tell you the truth too. So if it's terrible, they'll let you know that as well. But those editorial reviews, 10 to 12 weeks or 4 months. If you're going for, some of the bigger outlets, if you're sending it to the New York Times, I would send it 4 to 6 months in advance. So these are things that make you really think about when you're doing your book. And then the second time, do you need those things? Again, if you're putting out 6 romance books a year, you may not need all of those editorial reviews. So that's, part of your planning and consideration, that word as well. Not positioning the book properly is a big issue. A lack of understanding. I've talked about this throughout several of them, about the genre expectations. There are just you may not, listen, I know we have people writing on all kinds of different genres here. I know there's fiction, nonfiction, memoir. We've got all kinds of different places here. You need, especially in all genres, but especially in the genre fiction, you need to be reading your genre. I mean, just as voraciously as you can. There's so much that I've learned about the market that I'm going into just by reading the books that other people are writing, and then by looking at how readers are responding to those books. But it's true for all books. Like, if you don't, you just need to. And I heard one person told me one time that they don't want to read any other books that are similar to theirs because they're afraid that they're going to steal people's ideas, or that people are going to accuse them of stealing their ideas. Well, first of all, there's no new storyline in the entire world. So unless you plagiarize a book, nobody can really accuse you of stealing their idea, unless it's exactly what happened. But I mean, there's only so many storylines out there. And second of all, you're not going to just steal other people's ideas. If you're really writing for the right reasons, you have your own, ideas. So you're not going to just steal other people's. So but reading is going to help you be a better writer. I promise you. Not understanding the metadata, that's the pricing, the keywords, categories, all those things. You don't understand where your book fits in the marketplace. This is a huge one. And let me tell you, it is this, and Pam helped us with 21 Olive Trees, actually, because it is very difficult in some cases to determine where your book fits, especially in a book like hers, because to Laura, her message is healing and transformation. But to many people who look at it, they see it as a book on grief and loss. It's also some poetry. It's also fables. It's also an illustrated book, but not illustrations on every page. So it's not a picture book. But to really determine where it fits in the marketplace, we spent a lot of time and got a lot of feedback looking at where it was. And a cool thing about submitting an editorial, the paid review through Book Life, is that they actually gave us some comp titles at their end of the review, which was really cool because I hadn't even found those 2 books and we did a lot of research. So they came back and said, these are 2 other books that we think would fit in well. Okay. Sorry, I have to take a drink. Description, category, info about the book. This can be huge. It's amazing how many people you can lose because your description they didn't get it. They didn't get your book. They didn't understand. Writing that short little blurb about your book is harder than writing the book. Trust, this isn't you guys, I wanted to put my book on pre-order on Thursday, next Thursday. I think it's next Thursday, December 9th. It's my birthday. And I thought that would be a really cool birthday present to myself to put my first fiction book on pre-order. I have the cover. The book is written. It's in revisions. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to put it on pre-order by next Thursday because I can't write the blurb. I can't write the description. It's really, really hard. So, these are the things that are challenging. Because it's so important to me to get it right so that the right people find my book, so that I don't have people saying, oh, this was horrible because they expected something else. These are important things. And Pam's going to talk to us about log lines in the Women in Publishing Summit, and blurbs and things like that. So an example of this is that if you are taking your job seriously as an author, you're going to learn everything that you can about the genre. And I have to give Emily A. Myers, I love all of my clients. They are all my favorite clients. But in this case, right now, Emily's my favorite client. I've never seen somebody dig so deep on learning everything they could possibly learn about the genre of her book. She read a ton of books. She just like dove into trying to decide where her book fit. Was it a romance? Was it a women's fiction? Or was it a thriller romance? All these things. She did so much work. And let me tell you, it was positioned a little bit wrong in the beginning. And it was originally positioned as women's fiction. And we found very quickly that women's fiction uh, readers had something else in mind with their women's fiction, and hers was actually a thriller, a romance suspense thriller, which we kind of had to make up some categories and squeeze some categories in and out, but we found where it fit. I say we, but Emily did a lot of the work, and we did a lot of big conversations around it, wound up changing it, and things started going, sales started increasing ever since then. If you like romance thriller, by the way, a book that's got romance as a secondary genre, but has like a really exciting thing. This is a great book. It's one of the best books that I read this year, and I really enjoyed it. I was her perfect target audience, so there's that. But she's about to do her second book, and we are super thrilled for her. But you have to study what's going on. You have to study what readers want, what's happening in the industry, and make sure that you know and are aware of it. And then just a real quick slide, because right before I did this presentation, the last time, we were noticing a lot of people were getting their, people weren't able to leave reviews. So you have to understand what Amazon does and doesn't allow for reviews. And one of the things is that if the downside of having a really good ARC team, a lot of people, advanced readers, a lot of people who are reading your book and going to leave reviews on launch day, is that Amazon will shut it down if there's not a verified purchase review within a certain amount of time. So if you hit 50 reviews of people who did not buy the book on Amazon, they're going to stop allowing people to leave reviews, and you'll get this notification. So one of those things is that, you really need to be sprinkling, you need to get people buying your book as well. So if you have people who are on your ARC team that are all going to go leave reviews on launch day, you can drop the price to 99 cents and ask them to quickly, purchase the book for 99 cents so that they can leave a verified review if you feel comfortable doing that. But then again, you're launching a book, so it's in your benefit to do that. But you have to understand what Amazon will and won't allow. No one related to you can leave a review. No one who worked on it can leave a review. No incentives for leaving reviews. You may give a copy of your book, print or ebook, in advance to as many people as you want. You do not have to buy a book on Amazon to review it on Amazon. And they may get a free copy. They just shouldn't. Amazon doesn't like when people say, I got a free copy in exchange for a review, because you may not give an advanced copy, even though it's called advanced reader copy rather than review copy. You may not tell people, I'm giving this to you for a review on Amazon. That's against the terms of service. And these terms of service sometimes change and get updated, so it's worth paying attention to that as well. All right, y'all, I could talk about social media all day long, and we are running out of time, and I want to answer questions. So this is what I'm going to tell you in a nutshell about social media. Do not spend all your time trying to grow a huge account on social media, because yes, you should have a presence on social media, and you should use it authentically as you and try and grow it. And yes, you should run some things for book launches, and you should be there and trying to show up in front of it. But I can tell you, for the last 2 years, we've been working on helping people grow their accounts. And what we have seen is that there are some people who are just amazing at it and will grow and grow and grow, and other people who really struggle, and they just need to focus on finding other people with the right readers and try and get in front of those audiences, and just have their social media there as something that they use as a tool, but don't kill themselves trying to grow. We talk in our membership program about social media a lot. And it's important. It is an important tool, but it has to be used in the right way. And that is to get in front of the right readers. That is to grow your email list. That is to make sure people know what you're doing, run giveaways, do things like that, make sure people know when your launch is, but don't break your back spending hours a day trying to do all the things. You have to know your target audiences. You have to know how to get in front of them, partner with other people who have a big following of your target audience, and work on building readers. and book buyers. So in the beginning, you might be tempted to follow a lot of authors. And actually, we encourage this in the beginning because obviously you need to have followers. So if you're in a group of authors and you can all follow each other, that's great. That's a great way to start building engagement and all of those things. But then once you really start honing in on it, you want to be focusing your efforts on getting readers to follow you. And you shouldn't be doing author follow loops unless you write books specifically for authors. Follow your friends, authors, follow your friends in your communities, follow the other authors in the Women in Publishing Summit, because you do want to grow your audience, but, then try to break out of those, find readers and do those types of things. You can provide value to your audience, content that they want to consume, whether that's something fun or inspirational or all those things, and that will help you as well. And then have some type of way to get them on your email list. So giveaways, Lucinda is like literally giving away your book by doing a giveaway on Instagram by saying, hey, my book we're giving away 3 copies of my book, comment on it, all that kind of stuff. And then you pick a winner and they get a copy of your book. Okay, so this is a big one. No plan leads to burnout. No plan, or doing things like a little hamster on his little wheel, what my life feels like all the time. I don't like it, and neither does anybody else. And we're trying to get away from doing that, having a plan, not allowing yourself to get burned out. And some of those things, it just feels like you're just throwing things to see what will stick, throwing money at places that don't make sense just because somebody told you it was a good idea to pay $1,000 to, I don't know, run a whatever, and not seeing the results. If you're not tracking the data and the stats, so you don't know what's happening, you don't know and understand your results, you're not looking at your emails and how many people are opening and how many people are clicking and all those types of things. And eventually you're sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much I have to do. How am I going to do it all? And you just burn out. And let me tell you, I've had several moments this year where I just wanted to burn everything to the ground. So I understand that very, very well. And what I know is that the more time you have, or a plan that makes sense for whatever your timeline is, if you're doing these things, if you're looking at results, if you're looking at data, if you know where to put your efforts and your money, and to then track what's happening with those, and you're implementing your plan and you're being consistent, you're taking the time to do it and learn it the right way, or hiring professionals. You know what? I am a publisher and I still do not do any of these things by myself. I hire somebody for cover design. I hire somebody to do the layout, even though I have designed probably 40 books and in design and know how to do it. I don't want to, and it's not where I need to be spending my time and effort. That's not, my jam. So everybody needs to make sure that the right things are done, regardless of the way that you go to publish. So the biggest secret to success, if you can understand here through all these things that I've told you that people overlook or miss, like it's you've got to think of this. You've got to think of your book as your product, as something that you are selling, as your business. You're author. You're trying to build a career as an author or editor or publisher or book marketer or wherever you fall in here, and you have to treat it that way. And if you are self-publishing, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you're a publicist, you're a reader, you're a buyer, you're all these things. You're an HR manager if you've got a team, you're, a marketing guru, but you can hire people to help you with many of these things. It's not easy. None of this is easy. If it was easy, we would all be New York Times bestsellers. We would all be making $100,000 a month in royalties. We would all, just be living the life of our dreams. And but I do want to leave you with encouragement that it does happen. I have some really, really close friends who are making anywhere between $10,000 and $50,000 a month in royalties. Okay. And they started out just like all of us, not knowing anything about this industry, working on their craft, testing things out, investing in the right things, getting training, having a plan, trying, staying consistent, doing better. Jenny Goutet's presentation in last year's conference is a really great example of the journey of a self-published author over about 8 years, because we started writing at about the same time. She was actually a contributor to Sunshine After the Storm, and now she's a very successful Regency romance writer. And it's because she did all these things. She found her niche in the marketplace. She learned everything that she could. She redid her covers. She did all of those types of things, and she continued to grow and be successful and through consistency and all kinds of cool stuff. I think one of the presentations that I'm excited about the most in the upcoming summit is a panel of some really successful fiction authors who are going to talk about how they've collaborated together to write books together and to publish books together and do some fun stuff like that. The opportunities like that are the way that you move yourself ahead in the game sometimes when you're not making movement enough by yourself, because it takes a lot. Do y'all know that to be a New York Times bestseller or USA Today bestseller, Washington Post bestseller, you have to sell, the benchmark is about 5,000, but it depends on how many people are selling books. So if it's a really big week in sales and everybody's at 10,000 sales or above, then that's the number you have to hit. But we'll say as a benchmark of about 5,000 books in 1 week on 3 different sales platforms. So it only has to be like 500 from 2, and then the rest of them can come from someplace else. So thinking, through Apple Books, through Amazon, if we're talking about ebooks, Apple Books, Amazon, and Google Play, or Barnes and Noble, Nook, those types of things. 3 different, that's a lot. It's a lot of books to sell in one short time, in 1 week. So sometimes collaboration is what's going to get you there. Okay, so marketing doesn't stop at launch. Hopefully I've driven that point in. But marketing doesn't matter if you don't have a book that people are going to buy. And I don't like to say mean things like that, but if honestly, if your book is terrible, then it doesn't matter how much money you put behind marketing. It just doesn't. And we've had to have some tough conversations with some clients before, and they were unpleasant for me to have, because nobody likes to tell someone that their book cover is terrible. Brooke Warner did that for me. If y'all don't know Brooke Warner, she is the CEO of She Writes Press. She's an amazing woman in the industry, and she was my first writing mentor. And she saw the cover of Sunshine After the Storm, and her question was, "Is that your final cover?" And that's what made me start realizing I didn't know what I was doing. And it hurt because I loved that cover before I knew what a better cover looked like. So, you have to be willing to do the things. You have to be willing to invest time, money, energy, knowledge, or pay somebody else to do some of it. But even when you're paying other people, I'm telling you that the authors who work side by side with us and learn what we're doing and how we're teaching them, and then go off like Emily did and start doing it on her own. When you teach somebody to fish rather than just provide them a platter of food to eat, like, it makes all the difference in the world. And the ones that come in and we just do everything for them and then off they go, like, they struggle because they don't know how to do it on their own. But you have to, you have to be willing to either invest time, energy, and money of your own, or hire other people to help you, or spend the time to learn it. And there's a lot of ways to learn it, but you have to do these things from all the things that we've talked about: proper placement, proper production, proper plans, and all those types of things. And I want nothing more than to see all of your books do well. So I just want to ask a question. Does anybody feel like they need help in doing all of these things? Because if nobody needs help, if nobody wants any support, then we can end this right now. There's at least 2 people that are interested. Okay, so I want to tell you what we've been working on. For those of you who are in our community and have been in our community and know what we're doing, and follow us on social media, that my whole team and I went to Charleston, South Carolina for 4 days in October. And we had a really big planning session, and we looked at what we were doing and what we wanted to do, what we'd done this last year, and how we could improve what we're doing. And last year at the conference, we launched WIP School. But we also have this membership that we've called the WPS membership. And there's a lot of confusion because we have the Women in Publishing Summit, WIP School, Book Launch in a Box, the membership, and people were struggling trying to understand what was what and where was where. And we were struggling trying to keep up with all the different places. So we brainstormed on how we could do this differently. And what we decided to do was, rather than doing WIP School like we did it last year, where it was a 4-month fixed program and it had 4 months of modules, we decided to merge the WPS membership and WIP School into one program that's an ongoing monthly support program. And we're going to call it WIP School because I love WIP School for a couple of reasons. One, we're all very familiar with work in progress as as we're talking about our work in progress. I consider myself a work in progress outside of being an author, but also being that it's the Women in Publishing Summit, it's kind of cool. So we rebranded, and WIP School is coming to you by Write, Publish, Sell. Our goals are to provide the maximum amount of support at the lowest level of investment, because I've seen some people spend a lot of money. I know, because they come to us and we charge a lot of money. And that is because we do a lot, all those things that I just told you about that we do with Laura's book, we do with the majority, we do with all of our clients if they're at that full level. And it's a lot of people doing a lot of things. And not everybody has $10,000 to $15,000 that they can just chunk over to somebody else to set them up, for the production and launch of their book. And I know that I sure didn't. And I've always been committed to trying to find ways that people can still get support at a low level of investment, but also build community, because all these things that I've told you about, like the power of getting together and brainstorming and talking through things, is amazing. Just being able to do all of the, come together, like 5 minds are better than one anytime. So building community and teams in that. And if there's anybody who's in the membership currently, if you have good things to say about it, feel free to pop in here, but also to give resources and tools to save time and energy and money. Because if anybody had told me what to look for in a cover designer, I wouldn't have just gone with this person that I found on Fiverr probably to do my cover. If somebody had said, go to this person, she's done these covers, or you can find a cover designer here, or all of these types of things, so we're providing that type of guideline too. Oh, you're doing this type of book? Well, let me tell you, I know these illustrators, I know these children's book editors, I know these, saving you the time, energy, and money. And then, so like I said, we're rebranding our WPS membership under WIP School. So continuing to provide the training and support on a monthly basis. So you can come in and you can just pay for 1 month. You don't have to pay for a 4-month program. I doubt you're going to want to come for 1 month, because we have a lot of stuff. Basically, all the things that we just talked about as the pitfalls are things that we train on and give information on. But you come in, you get at least one premium workshop per month. Sometimes we do more than one, but on topics like the things that we just talked about. So in December, our topic is, I called it Self-Publishing 101, but it's really to make sure that people know how to load their books to Amazon and to Ingram Spark. Make sure they understand all the things that go into that and all the pieces that they need ahead of time. That's what we're covering in December. You get a team of expert, my whole team, Instagram, TikTok, techie support for websites and email server, email tools, Facebook, email writing, book funnel, all of those things. My whole team is there to answer questions, provide guidance and feedback. We do monthly Q&A sessions, 1 month with me, one with me in particular, and then currently we do an audit or feedback session. So some of the things that we're doing it differently is we are doing a 3 levels of access. We're changing it up a little bit. So we want to be able to provide, meet people where they are in terms of support. And we want to be able to give an option of people who need a lot of hands-on support at still far much less than what would cost for them to hire us to do it for them. So I want to show you the different levels. So our primary level, the teal level, is the 1 Q&A session with me each month. And then we're going to have the premium workshop each month. And then we are doing guided networking sessions. So basically like pulling everybody together and coming in. And these have been so great. These sessions where everybody in our community comes in and chats through ideas and help support each other. They have been immense in building connections and helping people through things. We also have a private Facebook group. And also you get all of the previous workshops and Q&As, access to all of those. Then the next tier, these next two are new things that we're doing. So then the tier 2, the magenta tier, you get everything in tier 1, plus what we are doing to make things different, because we found with our general Q&As, there were some people who just had one quick question about Instagram and they had to sit and listen to questions about a bunch of other things before they got to there. So instead of doing just that one Q&A with the team, we're going to be doing social office hours with each of our main expert. So we'll have the social media office hours. So basically there will be a time and date of the month where you can just pop in anytime in that hour and ask your quick questions on social media and pop out, or you can stick around and listen to other people's questions because some people really like that. We'll have a specific office hours block for all your tech questions, because we had a lot of questions on MailerLite and WordPress and, all these things. And then email marketing. So writing newsletters, putting your book on BookFunnel, growing your email list, all those types of things. And then we're doing what's called hot seats. So people will have the opportunity to sign up for a hot seat, which is basically like a brief one-to-one coaching session. So you get 15 minutes to have a one-to-one basically with the whole group there, so that people get the benefit of listening to what your questions are and what we're talking about. And then we're also going to set up the author pods so that people have their small groups and community to get into. And then our training vault, including Instagram for authors, Goodreads for authors. We're still working on this part. This is not a fancy schmancy sales pitch, y'all. I should have told you that in the beginning. Like, I don't really love those like super salesy type things with the pictures of all the stuff. I wanted to show you what's actually in these things, but some of these are going to shift a little bit because this officially, like the whole shift occurs in January. But the cool thing that we're adding to this is templates. So each month you're going to get a template and we're trying to match them up with our training. So like, for example, if our training that month is about newsletters, then the template that you're going to get is newsletter topic ideas or a newsletter template or something like that. So each month we're coming up, we already have our first one done for January, which is a calendar of events for the year for social media planning, so that you can plan out when to post on different types of things. Now, the purple level, we are still deciding if we want to go there or not. And it's really going to depend on interest level on the purple level. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But this one is going to have a 6-month commitment minimum. If you come in, you get everything in these 2 tiers, but you also get a marketing strategy, personalized marketing strategy developed by me and the team, plus a one-to-one call with me and with each of our experts. We'll bring in additional group guest experts, and we are talking to a couple of our editors about coming in and doing facilitated critique sessions if people want to come in and do that. And we're like, it's a lot of stuff happening in this purple level. And anyway, yeah, okay. I got a lot of slides in here about wonderful things that our people have said. And WIP School book launch in a box and the membership all kind of blended together last year. So we had people who sent things over, but the program was basically the same thing. So you can see that people really enjoyed the opportunity to ask questions and to get answers. They enjoyed the opportunity to be part of a network, to create community. They enjoyed the fact that we provide a blend of strategy and training programs and networking and feedback. And we do it across the board of all the things. So I am going to answer all of your questions as soon as I get through here. I should have done a question screen a minute ago. I'm sorry, but as soon as I close this screen out, I'll go to the Q&A box and still answer questions. So You can either spend a lot of time and money figuring it out, or you can join our supportive community to help you. Like I said, our packages start at $5,000. I'm really trying to move away from those done for you packages because I get a lot more joy in helping people through the actual process and teaching them how to be successful at it. Some things you always have to hire people to do. Always hire your editor, always hire your book cover designer, always do the layout. But if we can teach you some of the other things, then there's no need to pay a lot of money to people to go do those things for you. I am positive that you can learn to do almost everything that we do for authors. It just takes putting in the effort to learn it. So our pricing for these is $47 a month for the basic level, for the teal level, $97 a month for the magenta level. And then if we decide to move forward with the purple level, it will be $297 a month with a 6-month commitment. And there will be a max of 10 people on that one. But our special offer right now is that anybody who joins in the next 3 days will get the $47 a month price for everything up to the magenta. So the 97, basically you get the $97 a month for $47 a month for as long as you are in the program. And so you will get access to all of our previous training, everything in first and second. If anybody's here who's currently in the membership program, you guys are all grandfathered in. You all get magenta and at your $47 level, you will have magenta level for the rest of the time that you stay with us. So yeah, can you update? What's up? Can we update what? Okay, so the purple level, if by any chance you think that this is something, Marilyn James, sweet Marilyn, she was a great participant and came in and asked lots of questions. And I mean, we talk, like Marilyn says, we talk about a lot of things, legal questions, like you never know what's going to come up in these Q&As. Oh, yes, Tina. Okay, so if yes, that's a great question. I don't know how we're going to make that happen, but I assure you, if you are in our program and you want to move up to a different level, like if you think eventually you want purple, but right now you just want to come in at the $47 level, we'll figure out how to make that work. I totally get it. Trust me, my birthday, 2 of my daughter's birthdays, my sister's birthday, my niece's birthday, and my nephew's birthday are all in December. So, and Christmas. So yes, I understand that the budget issue is real right now. So anyway, yes, but these question and answer sessions are amazing. And y'all know Sarah, she is just amazing and wonderful. And she's such a huge cheerleader of ours. And we have attracted a community of people like these ladies that I just showed you. And I just gave myself chills. It's an honor and a joy and a pleasure to spend time with them and to help them through. And, you know, I hope that that's what we continue to cultivate. So you will see results by showing up, but you have to do the work. It's not for those who don't want to get their hands dirty. We're going to teach you the tools, systems, things. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to review your stuff depending on the level. We just help make it easier for you by giving you the path and all of that, and then help you as you're trying to implement things on your own. This is a huge disclaimer, okay, because sometimes people don't understand this part. It's a recurring fee. So every month you will get billed. Every month you will get you'll be billed $47 because nobody's going to bill $97 if you join before the 3rd. $47, but you can cancel at any point in time. And if you can either sign up through PayPal or through Stripe, and there should be a way. It's easy to cancel on PayPal. I don't know how you do it through the other way, but we can cancel for you if at any point in time you're like, okay, I've learned what I need to learn, I need to go. However, we do not refund if you forgot to cancel and it rebills. So make a note in your calendar of what day you signed up, so that if you don't want to stick around, you email us before you get rebilled, because it is there's fees, there's all kinds of stuff when we have to go in and refund and all of that kind of stuff. So now we're just like, know that you can cancel up to any time until the moment that you get rebilled. And then you'll finish out your month and we'll remove you. And there's no hard feelings, because like anything else, you come, you get what you need, and then you go. Yes, this is not the Women in Publishing Summit. The Women in Publishing Summit is a 1-week event, and it has its own private Facebook group, but we don't do these. If you're in the Women in Publishing Summit ticket holder and you want to do the training or any of these things, you still have to buy the training and all of that stuff. So this is its own, WIP School is its own training thingy. And then what happens with the summit community is that you have the conference, you bought your conference ticket, so the week of the conference, and then we do one networking event a month where we just bring everybody together and network. But it's not a Q&A session, it's not training, it's not any of those things, it's just community building. And this has the training vault, the monthly things, the one-on-one Q&As and all those kinds of things. So the link is up there. Now, if you are interested in the purple level, I want to actually talk to people one-on-one, because basically it's $297 a month, and it's a 6-month commitment. So it's, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page about that. We're only going to have 10 people at that level, because we are those marketing strategies to develop a solid marketing strategy for someone takes me 10 hours a minimum of my personal time, plus input from the rest of the team. And that's a lot to invest time wise and all of that. So if you think you're going to be interested in the purple level, and I'm not going to build it out if we have no interest, like I would rather just put all of our efforts in the other stuff, but you can go to this link right here and schedule a fitting call with me. And this level will start in January. So nobody will start being charged this pricing until January is when we'll kick in with all of that. Will you still have the session in June of 2022? Oh, thank you for asking that. So book launch in a box, not to confuse anyone, book launch in a box is also still its own separate program. So we will run that one maybe just once a year, because it's a lot to run it twice a year, but we will definitely be running book launch in a box. I'm going to say probably June again. But we haven't decided that quite yet. That's its own. So the difference between book launch and a box, it is a high intensity program that's 30 days to basically set up your entire launch strategy with your social media, email, landing pages, all of that kind of stuff. So it's its own specialized thing. But for people who are in our program, there will likely be some sort of discount or all that kind of stuff. But yes, that's it's its own thing. So when you a note on the sales page, it's still the old sales page. I haven't had a chance to go in and change anything. So right now there's only one option. You just go in, you get the membership, and it's at $47 a month. If anybody who is in that program by 5 p.m. on December 3rd, did I say, everybody will be at the $97 a month in what you're receiving, but you'll only be paying $47 a month, if that makes sense. So in January, we'll actually have a fancy sales page that has the 3 different pricing tiers, and people can do their own thing. But for now, you can join in, and even though you are starting on November 30th, you're paying for December. But we have training in December. We have all of these things happening in December. At the old program is still running through December with the 2 Q&A sessions, the training session, and all the things. Okay, I know. I'm sorry. That's a little bit confusing. I'm not quite sure how to, but eventually, once we're done setting up all the stuff for the new thing, then it will have the different tiers, and the people who join the purple tier for now will probably need to, I'm scheduling phone calls to talk through and see, just to make sure that they understand the commitment and the investment and all those types of things. Okay, now let me stop sharing my screen, and thank you for letting me share that with everybody, because this is what we're really trying to move towards, is providing this level of support. And it's what we enjoy doing the most. And it's very helpful to people to be able to come and learn the systems rather than just hearing. Like, courses get really hard because you have to actually make the time to go do the courses. So while there are modules and additional training and things like that that will be made available for you, it's it's hard to make the time to go through and go sit down through courses and all of that types of things. So when you have the live training like this, the workshops where we go through things, the opportunity to come together and discuss things and get questions answered, it's just, to me, that's super beneficial. All right, what would be the average cost? Okay, I'm heading over to the questions in the Q&A box now. So if you have questions that Sarah is not able to answer for you in the chat box about the membership, pop them in here. Okay. So what would be the average cost for romance paperback book? Okay, so Lucinda, this is going to depend on a lot of different factors. So when I'm looking at pricing, I tell people to go to look at a bookstore, go look on bookshop.org, go look on Amazon, go look on Barnes and Noble, and look at what things are averaging in the price range. So for a normal romance paperback book, you can see anything basically from $9.99 to about $14 or $15.99. It just depends on length. And honestly, the way it was published, traditionally or indie, lots of different factors. So I would say, $9.99 to $12.99 is probably a good bet for you. Okay. Oops, I didn't mean to type the answer. We're done with that one. I don't know why it's only letting me type the answer. Done. Okay. Okay, so Linda O'Donnell, I don't know about Ingram Spark. You probably cover it. Okay, so Ingram Spark is it's a retailer, wholesaler, distributor. So it is, if you want your books to go into bookstores, then you want to be in Ingram Spark. If you want librarians to be able to get your book, you want it there. So it's another place to load your book in addition to KDP. So but there's a lot of particulars about Ingram Spark, and that's the how-to is going to be included in our workshop on December 14th. Can you give a list of some of the blogs, podcasts, etc., that are trusted sources of information? Oh my goodness. I mean, this is going to totally depend on a lot of things. New York Times, Washington Post. Just any blog that's doing well and seems to be like a legit source. So if you go to a blog and it looks like a child set it up and it's just someone's opinion, it's probably not going to be it. But if it's like Huffington Post or Scary Mommy, like if it's a media outlet and you can tell that it's a professional site, but again, you just have to fact check if you get stuff from blogs. Podcasts, same thing. I mean, there's just tons and tons of different podcasts out there. It's hard to know, but generally if somebody's been around and doing a lot of podcasts on a topic and you hear people talking about them, like Joanna Penn, the Creative Penn, great podcasts. Let's see. Philippa wants to know about tips for booking podcasts. Actually, we're going to talk about that in the summit ad nauseum, and I cannot possibly get into that right now other than go to research podcasts that you want to be on and find out if they have submission guidelines. Okay. When you said order a print proof, can you say when that should occur? Launch minus X days. How much time does it take to get the print proof? How much time will it possibly make? Okay. When we order, so our books, we try to have ready 6 months prior to launch if possible. It's not always possible, but that's our goal, so that if we are ordering or getting print books into reviewers and editorial reviewers and all those types of hands, that's my goal, is to have a book ready if possible 6 months out, if nothing else 4 months out. Again, this depends on genre. If I was launching a romance book primarily on Amazon every 4 months, obviously that's not going to be the case. So, and it depends, once you've done this more and more and more, you get faster at it, you get better at it, you kind of know what you need to do on your launch term. And if you're not using editorial reviews, it's all going to be good. So let's just say that you're not doing anything where you're sending out print copies of your book in advance. I would give yourself at least 1 month prior to launch. So we try at the very latest to load a proof a month out. Amazon can take a little while to get those print proofs out. So we get them in about a week normally, but there have been times when, with COVID, oh my gosh, nothing was predictable. So there were times that it took longer than that. 2 weeks on a print proof, generally 2 weeks is about the longest. Author copies are totally different. Then, so you get a week, you plan on a day or two to review it, depending on how long you think it'll take you to closely review your book. Then you get your reviews back, or you get any of your changes or feedback back to your designer. Depending on their workflow, it could take them, I would plan on 3 to 5 business days just to make, just to be safe. But these are questions you want to ask them when you're working with them so that you know what to expect. So and then by the time you load it again, and usually we don't order another print proof after that unless there were a lot of changes or we need to make sure that things were done properly. So a month generally gives you enough time. Do you need to ask permission from the author of the endorsement? The Telegraph newspaper featured Rupert Snow, unless one of the quote would be fabulous on the cover. Generally not. If someone gives you a public endorsement, you're generally allowed to use them. I mean, that's them giving, if they give you an endorsement, that's kind of their permission. You just need to make sure that it's sourced. And I know with like Kirkus reviews, they say you can shorten what they give you, but you have to do like ... So if you take just like a piece of it, like ... the best book I've ever read, Kirkus reviews. So you cannot change the verbiage in it. You can't make adjustments to that, but you can shorten it as long as they know that there was stuff before it. And as long as it's accredited to the source, you can generally use it. And most people who give endorsements know that they're giving an endorsement to be used publicly. Would it be possible to have a review of Amazon guidelines as a workshop in the summit? We don't have space for that this year, but that's a really good thing. And that's something that I can add into the membership for sure. I'm going to write that down. That's something that I can go in live. Sorry, I just want to make sure that gets written down or I will forget it. Do you usually work with a professional publicist and recommend that your authors work with a professional publicist? Oh, Christine, this is a great question. It really depends on what people are trying to achieve with their book. On a regular basis, we have worked with publicists in the past and we have some information that publicists have given us. So we kind of know some of the things to do, but not every author needs to be on every morning show in America or needs to be in every journal or needs to be every place in the world. So it depends largely on what their goals are. Grammar. Laura Formentini, the author of 21 Olive Trees, we debated back and forth. Do we hire a publicist? What are we going to do about this? She went through and she wound up deciding to go through a publicity training course with a publicist and their team, kind of the same idea as our membership, like teach her how to do it on herself. So yes, she is definitely working with a publicist, but she didn't hire a publicist to go out and do the stuff. She's learning from them how to do the publicity on her own. And she is pitching media like left and right and getting out in all kinds of places. So but her goal is to sell lots of books and to have a bestseller selling book out there and all of those things. So you're gonna obviously look at what you're trying to achieve and determine if that's the right way to go. But a lot of, publicity is earned media. So a lot of that authors can do on their own as well. You just have to know where to start and when to start and what to send people and all of those types of things. But for certain cases, if you plan on going big, if you want to be on, on the Today Show and things like that, I definitely want to encourage that you consider all options. Oh, you know what? I guess I should have told y'all that you have the option to hide the closed captioning. I always hide it on my end, so I forget that it's there in the way. But yes, I am going to email you all the slides. Is there going to be a specific workshop and products for book children's genre? For instance, I'm not finding book funnel worth the energies for kidlit. That's a good question. We don't have one on the schedule right now, but the reason we don't have one on the schedule is because we try to keep them broad enough that everybody who is part of it, that it's not, specific into it. But if you're talking about the conference, is there a specific workshop for, yes, for the conference, we have an entire track for children's books. So, and that's, and talk to my Sarah about Book Funnel, because she manages all of our Book Funnel stuff right now. So I don't know if we've seen a whole lot of stuff happen on the children's book side or not. I mean, we use it, but primarily we use Book Funnel as an easy way for email list growth and for delivering the book to people. So that's a great thing. But there's, I mean, in terms of marketing and things like that, there's a lot of great stuff on children's books coming up in the conference. So I'm brand new. I've just started writing ideas down. What would you suggest, teal or magenta? Well, if you join now, you get both. I mean, you get magenta for the teal price. So, and you'll always have it. So you don't have, does magenta have a time minimum? Nope. You can stay in as long as you want. And in your case, or anyone's case who winds up publishing with us or working with us, we pause your, during the time you get 6 months free. If you wind up publishing with Purple Butterfly Press, you would also not have to pay for the membership during that time. And you can leave at any time. The only thing is, if you leave and you decide to come back, then you go to whatever the pricing is when you come back. Now, I'm not a cruel-hearted person, so if you are going through, like, if you lose your job or you're having a difficult time and you don't want to go away, but you can't stay, we can talk about pausing and things like that. Would somebody interested in traditionally publishing benefit from WIP School? So here's the thing, even if you're traditionally published, there's a whole lot of stuff you got to know. The benefits of marketing, all the marketing stuff that has to happen. There's lots of stuff, lots of stuff. And we do a lot of marketing, a lot of author growth, a lot of development of things like that. For example, you're still going to need to know how to send out emails to your email list and grow your email list. Melissa, kind of in conjunction with your question. So far we have January is planning out your, I don't remember what January is. It's something about the marketing schedule for the year, or planning around content. I don't remember. February, we're doing how to create digital products to sell to add an additional revenue stream. So almost all of us have other things that we can sell on our website. So that's going to be a really good one. So we focus on things to help you grow your business. And March is going to be evergreen email sequences. So pre-writing emails to have that when someone comes into your email list, you're not trying to figure out what to write every single week and month and all those kinds of things. So giving you some templates for writing emails, or giving you the training for writing those emails and setting them up so that you can set them up and kind of forget about them and not be stressed out about them. I know we're talking about, oh my goodness. The answer is yes, we'll have a schedule up sometime. You know what? We had some brainstorming stuff going on the other day. Let's see. Evergreen email sequences. Where is my spreadsheet? We also solicit input if there's a topic people really want to cover, but we've done everything from, we'll always cover marketing stuff and ads and bringing in things, because those things change and grow. We do a lot of topics that are meant to help everyone grow their author platform, grow their businesses, sell more, do better, make more money, all those types of things, as well as the down in the weeds tools like how to load your book to Amazon and Ingram Spark and things like that. So, and some of them, we take topics that we've covered in the past and update them because they're important topics. So that kind of answered the topic level. I don't have my spreadsheet open, so I can't remember all the ones that we've got out there, but we've got some good ones coming up, and are always looking for, we've got a publicist coming in actually, who's going to talk about growing publicity, all those types of things. So marketing, lots of development, lots of those types of things. But I won't have it loaded before December 3rd. I'm sorry. I plan to relaunch a self-published book I previously did with a POD publisher. Will I need to get a new ISBN and acquire a new copyright? So a new ISBN, most definitely. The copyright, that's questionable. You should not have to recopyright the book if it's the same book. Actually, I was talking about the conference. Oh, I'm sorry. The schedule of the conference is up. If you go to the website, scroll down about a third of the way. Hold on just a second. It's on the conference. Ella, are you leaving? Can you give me a hug real quick? Sorry, we ran over time and my daughter was leaving and I wanted to say goodbye. But yes, the conference schedule is up on the website and you can check it out there. Okay, I got through all the questions in the Q&A box. Yes, Mary Lisa, you prepaid, you're good. Anybody, no matter what level you paid in, if you are currently a member, you're grandfathered in until your year runs out. But as long as if you decide to do another year, same things apply. Like we will do that. Let's see. Oh my goodness, there's lots of things in here. Just checking to make sure I didn't miss anything important. Okay, can you share the 22 conference website? It's just at womeninpublishingsummit.com. And if you go to, if you scroll down the page just a little bit, there, it might be in the menu, but if it's not in the menu, if you just scroll down the page just a little bit, let's see, scroll down to under, there's the conference timeline begins in 91 days. Oh my gosh, it's going to be here so soon. There's a couple of testimonials and then there's the schedule and speakers. And if you click on see the 22 schedule, well, now I've got the link so I can drop it in the direct link. Where would I find the outline for the new campaign? What new campaign? Ardith, for the new campaign. Okay, I'll wait for you to tell me what that new campaign is, and then I am going to be done for the day because I'm not going to be done for the day. I'm going to be done for 20 minutes, and I have a consulting. The one you are currently running. Oh, so the only link that we have right now is to our old is to the existing membership platform. So right now everybody comes in at the $47 level, and then you'll be just grandfathered into the magenta level. And I don't have it on the website yet, but when you get these slides, you can look through the different levels on there. So I will send these out and discount them. Nancy is traveling today, so it may take me just a little bit longer to get all of this stuff out there. But basically, if you click on the link that Sarah just dropped, it takes you to the only, there's only a $47 option right now. That's the only option that exists, but that's, everybody gets magenta up until 12/3. So thank you, everybody. Yes, we're all confused on our names. I've got Sarah posting as me, Casey posting as Sarah. It's who's the real Alexa Big Wharf. All right, y'all, this has been great. Thank you for hanging with me for so long, and I hope that you learned a lot. Whether you join us in our community or not, I would strongly encourage you to get a ticket to the Women in Publishing Summit, because even if you don't have the intention of joining a training program, you know, we do have that Facebook community for the attendees over there, and we do get together once a month and just get to know each other better and brainstorm and break into small groups and all that kind of stuff. So there is intense value in that. And also there's a lot of presentations, 4 days. There's 17 presentations each day. And they are, you'll be able to watch the recordings for as long as you want. So lots of great training. And there's happy hour. Hey, Dot. Yes, we have happy hour planned in for Thursday and Friday night. And maybe Saturday too, if it gets wild. So, okay. And just as a reminder, the tickets do start going up in price as of December 1st, which is holy moly tomorrow. So, all right, everyone. Oh, hey, Nicole. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see you all soon.